Hey folks, this is your host, the one, the only, Thrifty Gamer 83 here. Oh, let's ask a very good question. Do we really need M games on store shelves? To me, I don't agree with taking M games, or for that matter, any media, off the shelf, or forcing it off the shelf, or completely violating the First Amendment, or completely saying any artistic endeavor should be completely and blatantly removed if a censor does not agree with it. I just cannot bring myself to agree with people who would say this needs to be removed and banned. What I do think should happen, however, is that M games should be side by side released with T games. I think it should be a requirement. But it's not censorship. Now keep in mind, what I'm trying to say is that it should be released side by side with a T for teen product. And you could take both versions of the game, have the T for teen just lowered a little bit, water it down, but make it passable for the ESRB, and still retain the original M game. This would grow the market segment. I find as a parent that, my son being 6 months old, I just have to say, you know, any M games I've had have been donated. I've noticed that younger nephews say, well, my friend's father lets him play some of these M games. Why can't I? And that just completely became a theme of me saying, oh, but I'm not your friend's father. I'm your uncle. So I have to look at that and say, wow, he just found my M games. Donation. And that's what it's been. I've donated all my M games. And I don't advocate for censorship. I don't feel like there should be a censor to decide what should be removed completely to pass. That would mean something like a theocracy. That would mean like an interpreted Christian government, but really that would mean a theologically biased invention. So, taking it back from the esoteric level and returning it back as a Christian myself, taking it back to having just that dual licensing for the same game, the same product, the same staple of the game, to have that granted to publishers, developers, and to just have it as a requirement would mean that you could charge the same price for the T for teen version as for the M for mature version, and you could also have a tax write-off of employee hours spent on the title, which would lead to a larger refund, as well as having a separate team to work on and flesh out if there's any bugs in the existing product. Now, I'm thinking like a salesman. I'm thinking like marketing or advertising. But I'm also thinking like someone who thinks, let's put this to the test, but have bug testing done too, to coincide with the M for mature game, to have it as a T for teen game, to have two separate teams working on the product to flesh it out, but also to be able to overlook each other and see what can be fixed in the coding between the two, and whether or not the M game can have bugs which could be removed by the T for Teen team assigned to the same project at the same time running concurrently so that both can work together. And really, it's not censorship. It would be a requirement to have the game on store shelves, just to have a dual release. Now, the reason why I like that so much is having so many M games in my digital collection that I just can't get rid of, but just appear to be taunting me on Steam. It would be wonderful to have Borderlands 2, Borderlands Back, Tomb Raider, Tomb Raider Rise of the Tomb Raider. It would just be an amazing thing to have back to play again. And really, it just makes sense in a diplomatic model of purchasing products as well as having it made so that games in an older catalog such as System Shock could be played as well. I think sometimes, though, that ESRB goes too far in putting some games as M for mature, when they could just be easily T for teen, and they just feel a little uncertain about the context of the game. I really do feel that there is room for mature games on store shelves. I also feel that there is room for growth to have the same game with the T for Teen rating released side by side with the same product that carries the M for mature rating. I feel no problem with that whatsoever. Alright, folks, rant, rave, love, hate, click that subscribe button. You're keeping my show on the air. Have a good one.